Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigvalgrim here, and I hate Rise of Krypton Swords, you hate Rise of Krypton Swords, and you will hate Rise of Krypton Swords, but you don't know it yet. So yeah, I've always had this feeling that everybody hates Rise of Krypton Swords, and I'm wondering why. Like, there were some people with Dawn of Apocalypse that didn't like Dawn of Apocalypse Swords and had some complaints about it, but for the most part it was well received. Over here with Rise of Krypton Swords, I've seen close to no people who actually enjoyed this game mode and this sword. And today we're going to go through every single thing, because there are very many things that are wrong with Rise of Krypton Swords and how Dawn of Apocalypse did such a better job at everything compared to that. So that being said, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. Okay, so from the start we could see that they have put far less effort in Rise of Krypton Swords than they have put into Dawn of Apocalypse as a concept. So Dawn of Apocalypse, when it was released, it was hyped for a while, like 1 week or 2 weeks. It even had a video on YouTube explaining all the new Dawn of Apocalypse swords, bosses and artifacts and stuff. It was all around good stuff. It was a huge event. Rise of Krypton, they just shed out a post. They just shed out a post with a weird looking purple Superman 3 days before it was released. Look guys, it's a purple Superman, it's a Mario, and yeah, that was everything that they did. They also released a picture with all the new artifacts, but we'll get into them later. And yeah, Dawn of Apocalypse at launch was buggy as well. Like, you couldn't say it wasn't buggy, but there was no bugs that were so severe that you couldn't actually play the game. So yeah, every boss was serviceable. There were some glitches here and there, but you're fine. With Rise of Krypton Swords, we had the boss called Silver Banshee. Silver Banshee had a few passives. She could disable either your stats, your passives, or your artifacts, and or your healing. And she was guaranteed to disable one of your specials. And at launch, she was bugged and she disabled all of them, every single fight. And on top of all that, she also had a chance to disable a special. If you got King in there and you got your special tree disabled as well, you might as well quit, because that pip is wasted. That will not do literally anything. And it was all RNG related. You didn't do anything wrong, my dude. You just got unlucky, and that happens. And this pissed a lot of people off because if you have one of the new artifacts, it wouldn't disable the passive stats that they offered. So if you had one of the new artifacts, you'd have a far easier time even with the bugs. So this gave a huge advantage to the pay-to-play players. Now, getting to the artifacts, boy oh boy, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. So Dawn of Apocalypse had a far smaller amount of artifacts, and they were each one of them was carefully made to fit a certain role. The worst ones were Electrax and Megarod, and that doesn't mean they are bad artifacts. Electrax and Megarods are pretty good artifacts, especially compared with some of the new ones we got. They were the worst because they fit very niche roles, and Megarod really need to be a high level to be useful. But other than that, they were still good artifacts, and the other artifacts we got were amazing. In Dawn of Apocalypse, the artifacts, even though you could get them from paid offers, there was also a chest. It was not with huge chances to get them, but it was a chest that had them. You had a chest, and with enough gems spent that you could earn through playing the game, you could get the artifacts through that chests. The new artifact that was introduced in Dawn of Apocalypse Stories as a reward for beating the final boss was Firebox, which was the best artifact. And you got it for free. That was amazing. Then, the artifacts did provide some advantage in Dawn of Apocalypse Swords, indeed, we can't lie. Like, for example, against Darkseid, you could use the entropy and have a far easier time with most teams, but at the same time, if you did not have the entropy, you'd still be able to beat Darkseid, and you'd just have a little bit of a hard time, and you'd need to be more crafty. And trust me, I have one account with with entropy and one without. I managed to beat Darkseid on both of them on multiple heroic difficulties, and the only thing was that I need to be a little bit more careful if I didn't have the entropy. Except for the Silver Banshee team. That crap does not work well without the entropy, but other than that, there was close to no difference between the account where I had the best artifact to deal with that fight and the account that I did not have that. There was no place in the whole Dawn of Apocalypse that made you feel like you had to have one of the new artifacts. Would you benefit from having them? Hell yeah, but would you have to have them in order to properly progress? No, not really. The only thing you really need to finish the whole Dawn of Apocalypse Zoroids would be a high enough level firebox, and the level 1 firebox put you on a combo builder. Rise of Krypton, on the other hand, came with a far larger amount of artifacts. And the large majority of them were either absolute trash or useless unless max level. So we have Beta Club, LexCorp, Warsuit, and arguably Kryptonite Spear and Kryptonite Gloves. Those are the only 3 artifacts that are going to be somewhat useful from level 1. Some of them are very useful from level 1 as well, and are going to at the same time be good artifacts. Other than that, we have the other 5 artifacts, which are absolute trash or are useless unless maxed out. And Astro Hardness was useless even if maxed out, because it would get you banned if you used it in CA. It finished fights so fast that it would get you banned. So that's something great. It was already some. I'm not sure if that bug still exists, but yeah. And guess what, lads? They are exclusive to paid offers. There's no chance to get those artifacts. You have to get some paid offers. But Sigvald, you can drop them from Zoroids rewards. Shut up. That's too random, and that's too reliant on luck. That can't really be the only way a free-to-play player can get those artifacts. That is too random. I have dropped only one artifact, only one Rise Krypton artifact so far from Zoroid rewards, finishing 2 heroics almost, actually 3 heroics almost on 2 accounts. So yeah, across that many rewards, I think that's above 20 or maybe even above 30 rewards. I got only one of them, and I consider that lucky. So do not tell me that's a possibility to keep in mind. And not only that, not only did they not give you any other way to get the new artifacts, they also permanently removed the chest that we had previously that had a chance to drop Dawn of Apocalypse artifacts. So not only they didn't add a way for the free-to-play players to get those artifacts, a reliable way, they also removed the previous one for Dawn of Apocalypse Zoroids. That's not good now. Now let's get to the artifact that you get for free now, because previously Firebox was a great thing. Firebox was a huge thing. Firebox was the best thing in the world. You were happy to have it. You couldn't wait to beat that dark side and get Firebox. Over here we have Spear. Rise Krypton Spear. Yeah, this is kind of a garbage artifact. Like, it's the best in slot artifact for the Silver Banshee team, but that's the case only if you have a few other Rise of Krypton artifacts at pretty high level and also have a Martian Manhunter to have the Martian Manhunter Silver Banshee team. Other than that, the only saving grace of this artifact is that it has massive passive stats, so you can put on a support character, and that's gonna be something. But as a standalone artifact, compared with LexCorp Warsuit and the Beta Club, which were the best artifacts, it's still dog shit. It's garbage. It's not even close to the level that Firebox was, and it's by far not the best artifact you can get. And it's the only thing you have for free, and a lot of people won't have this option to max out. And yeah, max it out. It has maximum passive stats, and they split amongst all team. And yeah, the splitting of the stats amongst all teammates, that's another great concept. Like, don't get me wrong, when it was introduced, I was like, oh, that's great, actually. We can have all blades on damage dealers again. That's amazing. We can definitely do that. But yeah, it was not like something to help you out. Because as you progress further and further, you'll notice a little bit of a weird pattern. The health of the bosses that you fight is getting larger and larger, and it's getting above double the amount that Dawn of Apocalypse bosses had when at the same difficulty and in the same tier. Like, don't get it wrong, lads. The fact that you can have the passives of your artifacts in terms of health and attack split and added up amongst all your teammates is not to help you out. This is now charity. This is in order to justify that now you are going to need 3 maxed out Rise of Krypton artifacts most likely to finish the last tiers. Because the bosses are going to have so much more health. Previously you just needed a high level artifact, a high level Firebox, let's say a level 10 Firebox even. And that's not easy to get, but at the same time you'll eventually get there. But 3 of them that you can't really get. Do you want me to have 3 level 10 spears at this point, even though they are garbage, if I don't want to buy anything from the paid offers? Yeah, that's not really neat. That's not really okay. And with Firebox, let's say I wouldn't fear going with my level 7 Firebox all the way to the finish of Dawn of Apollosauroids. But in Rise of Krypton, even with the level 10 Kryptonite Spear alone, I don't think I would go further than Heroic 5. And that sucks. Okay, and now with the Rise of Krypton artifacts, there you don't have to have them in theory. You can get through everything without having them, but you're going to heavily benefit from having some of them. For example, we had previously Firebox being the best damage dealing artifact in the Dawn of Apollosauroids, which gave you, let's say, on average, 50% more damage than if you had one of the other top tier artifacts like Entropy or Heart of Darkness. So yeah, Firebox is great, you should have had it. Now we got Beta Club, which is going to, in most cases, provide you, on the Batman Ninja team, 1000% more damage than having one of the other artifacts. That's a little bit balanced, let's say. Yeah, that's a little bit balanced. Now let's get into the bosses. First of all, bruh, first here, we got the boss with a super shield, bruh. Like, as an experienced player, I don't really give a crap, I can get through that easily. But what are new players gonna do? They messed it up kind of the same way with the first boss in Dawn of Apollosauroids, because Harley would have a cookie that she would leave, and there was kind of hard to pass through that cookie without pretty much locking her into an infinite combo, putting her in the corner and beating her down. And new players didn't know how to do it, and that was annoying. But bro, we got a boss with a super shield. That's gonna be the first interaction with a boss for new players. That's not okay, but let's get over it. Now, moving up to boss Brainiac. We have a little bit of a problem here. I really hate this boss for a few reasons. So we got boss Brainiac in Rise of Krypton Sauroids, and it's a phase 4 with a twist, pretty much. It's a little bit of a phase 4 with a twist, so it's still going to one-shot your entire team with a super move, which is not great. But at the same time, he's going to have more and more armor, and not even all the way to 70%, up to higher than 70%. The less energy he has. So ideally, you need to keep him at full energy. Even though if he gets at full energy, he's going to kill your team. Armor reduction doesn't really work. Armor pierce on basic attacks doesn't work at all. So you're going to have a hard time dealing damage over here, and his armor is going to increase and decrease and increase unless there's one way to keep him at maximum power. And the only team where, to be honest, it was kind of interesting was the Just League team, because over there you had to have a little bit of a risky gameplay to pull this off, and it was quite interesting, keeping him at full power, taking the last second Cyborg into a power drain. That was fun, but other than that, the only way to do that is to have one of the new artifacts. The Rise of Krypton ring, Kryptonite ring, Kryptonian ring, however you want to call it. You put that on your finger. If your character has fingers... Do we have a character in Just Mobile that doesn't have fingers? Not everybody. Okay, everybody's fine to wear it then. But yeah, this thing is going to disable the enemy's super move as you use an ability. And you know what's the best part about this? It needs to be level 9 or level 10, because if it's level 9 or if it's not level 9 or level 10, the percentage chance to disable the enemy super move will be too low to be reliable. So yeah, and you might be like, but Sigvald, look, you can use the King of Lands Aquaman team, and you can do the infinite combo with Dr. Fate, with a Ghost Step at the end, and he's not gonna be able to do anything to you. They made sure they got rid of that shit, like... There's the infinite combo with Dr. Fate with the Firebox King with a special tree on tagging. It's all good. You use the Ghost Step at the end of your combo, and it's all gonna be fine. They were like, oh, the lads did that on Darkseid. Let's make sure they can't do that here properly. So now, if you're above a 40 hit combo and you're playing King of Lands Aquaman, Brainiac has a chance to interrupt you. And look, I understand that you wanted to counter this strategy. I understand if the Ghost Step wouldn't work against this boss and you would get the special move done on you as you would tag in. But no, this man, because of that retarded passive, is going to stop you from doing basic attacks in the middle of your combo with King. So I just tag in King. I'm there in the middle of my combo. I get above a 40 hit combo. I'm 2 taps in, going to do the third tap. He randomly blocks, starts, and does the super move. That's new levels of retarded. I'm sorry, but that's just wrong over there. That's not something that should exist. But okay, let's move on. let's move on a little bit. Let's move to tier 4. In tier 4, we get a little bit of a boss that's called Multiverse Green Arrow. Thankfully, he's the lowest held boss. But, bro, did somebody playtest this? Did anybody playtest this before releasing it? Did you playtest those bosses? Did you fight against them? We know what, leave that alone. Screw play. Did you ever play in arena against Multiverse Green Arrow? Do you know how annoying that thing is? This should not exist, but nevertheless, it's a pretty low health boss, and it doesn't really matter. Let's move on to the tier 4 boss, which is Dark Superhero. Now, first of all, let's talk about Last Savage Joker. So, in Dawn of Apocalypse in tier 4, we got something that's called Last Savage Joker, and it's one of the hardest fights in Ninjas 2 Mobile. It's going to tag in and out. It's going to stun you if you tag in and out. It's going to release a poison gas that will deny all your buffs, if not avoid it. It's a nightmare to fight, but it was an interesting one. And there was no magic artifact that could solve this for you. The only thing that worked here was proper gameplay. And while he was a pain in the ass, there was an amazing feeling to it when you actually managed to pull a perfect fight against Last Savage Joker. Because you had the feeling like, oh, that's great, that's definitely my merit over there. I worked for that, I did that, I succeeded in that. That's all me. And when you screwed up, messed up, and did terrible, you might be like, well, that sucked, but it was because of me. It was because I failed something, and I could do better next time. I could avoid doing that. And yeah, I could talk so much more about how much I love to hate boss the Joker, but getting back to Dark Supergirl, let's sum it up in one sentence. You fail to block anything, including the super move, and you get stunned and die. But Sigvald, you can't block the super move. Well, unlucky, because that's gonna stun you as well. Yeah, that's the whole boss. Let's move on. That's Dark Supergirl pretty much for you. That's the description of it. Okay, moving to tier 5. Let's describe boss Aquaman in one sentence. No Heartbreak Harley Quinn or Black Manta. No damage. Whoa, match mechanics such wow. I mean, who came up with this? Who was like, oh, what is used usually to deal damage? Well, people use special trees and sometimes special tools. Let's cancel that. Let's make it so that special trees and special tools do no damage. That would be great. And also, let's put that on a boss that's not combo interruptible, so they can't really make optimal use of teams like the Just League team. Yeah, that's a great idea. Note that down. That's great. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's kind of retarded. Like, Aquaman is not a hard boss. It's a dumb boss. I'm not gonna not deal damage there because I play bad or because he's challenging. I'm gonna not deal damage there because some pre-programmed numbers are gonna tell me that my special tree doesn't deal damage there. Okay, boss Nightwing. You get hit, you get stunned, and you die, including by an ability, a super move, or a swipe down. But Sigvald, you can't block swipe downs. Swipe downs breaker block. Unlucky, that's gonna stun you and stun lock you until death. Good luck, have fun. Now, moving on to Boss Batman, I don't have a huge problem. The problem I have with Boss Batman is crit immunity, because it's yet again one of those ways to kind of include something over there that has no purpose other than making the fight take longer. It's going to be indeed a pretty rough fight, but if you can combo interrupt, it's not gonna be that bad. It's not gonna be that bad, in my dudes. Going to story mode, practice combo interruption. A huge amount of you are pretending combo interruption is something just for the very high tier players. Combo interruption is not something that exists for you. Trust me, it does. Like, look at me. I'm able to do it and I suck at the game. You can do it as well. Stop pretending it doesn't exist and learn combo interruption. But yeah, Boss Batman is also a pain in the ass, but do learn to combo interrupt and you'll be fine. Yeah, that's not a huge problem. But let's move on to the boss. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Darkseid. Boss Darkseid is combo interruptible, has some interesting mechanics to it. It's an interesting character to be a boss, and it's a pain in the ass to beat, but in an interesting and challenging way. Now, we got Boss Superman over here. Literally a reskinned armored Superman with a base kit in terms of abilities. No interesting mechanics. Has very many passives, but yeah, I can sum that up in a few words for you. No LexCorp, no damage. That's pretty much all the passives. Pretty much that he has max defense. He has immunity to armor pierce on basic attacks. He has immunity to crit, and he has he has heavily reduced dot damage. So basically, nothing deals damage. And yeah, he has a very small max damage cap, that meaning that each special tree that is used with King will deal quite significantly lower damage than usual deal with a special tree with King. And yeah, he's also going to turn dot and buffs into dot damage and deny them, so means no all blades shall be used here, no Black Manta passive, no Batman Catwoman passive, unless you got LexCorp, of course. That fixes everything, doesn't it? That's shit. That's a shit way to market your artifacts. That's a shit way to implement your bosses. This boss is absolutely zero effort put into it, and its only purpose is to be a damage sponge that can be softened up by Wordsuit. You can beat Boss Superman without spending money? Yeah, you can. In normal, in Heroic 1, Heroic 2, Heroic 3 maybe? Heroic 4, I don't know. I don't know after that point because he's got a huge amount of health. And yeah, to sum this up, when I was in middle school, my mother used to make me sandwiches. And they had bacon, they had cheese. They would be made at a sandwich maker. That cheese would melt. There was some amazing stuff. That's Dawn of Apocalypse Steroids. But sometimes she didn't have time to do that, and she wouldn't put them anymore at the sandwich maker. And the bread would not be toasted, the cheese would not be melted. It was shit. And that's Rise of Krypton Steroids. A low effort endeavor that I do not like and hope we don't see anything like it in the future. But yeah, with all that being said, this was Sigval Grim, and I hope you did enjoy this video. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share, or something if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if you dislike it, maybe hit that bell button. And I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Goodbye!